assessment. And we gave an example that, for example, if you have 100,000 profit declared in your company, then 30% of that is what we say is the principal tax. And that is the principal tax we're inviting you to pay, even by installment arrangement. Pay by installments, but pay it in full by the 30th of June 2024 and enjoy the tax amnesty. And we've said that the tax amnesty applies on your penalty amount, your interest, and your fines. And we have said that penalty, for example, is an amount that was charged for a return that was submitted late after the due date. And we gave an example of VAT being 20th of the following month. And if you happen to have submitted your VAT return past 20th, then you do have a late submission penalty. And we gave an example of how interest would arise. And we said that for the principal tax that goes unpaid beyond the due date, that the amount of principal tax incurs an interest. And we've said the principal tax must be paid in full, and then you will get an amnesty on the penalty and the interest and fines. Back to you, Brenda.
Thank you so much, Alfred, for that. I can see many seeking clarity on the matter of the tax amnesty, and I just want to pick like 2-3 questions that you can respond to. There's a question here that is by Anne Quirio. She's saying, if we already have a payment plan that will for 30th of June 2024, we still need to apply for the amnesty. So that is one. Discuss the matter of those that already have a payment plan in place. How do they go about this matter of amnesty? That is one. And then we have another question here by Mutongoi. Mutongoi says, so if I don't have a principal tax declared and have been filing nil since, and have been filing nil returns, and I have penalties and interest, I do not therefore need to file returns. They're asking, is the amnesty just automatic? Maybe just give clarity to two of these questions, and then we come back and pick some.
Yes, so for Anne, who already has a payment plan, I invite you to consider the installments and what you're paying for. If the payment plan covers the targeted periods prior to December 2022, and that the final installment in the payment plan does not go beyond June 30th, June 2024, and so according to your payment plan, by June 30th, 2024, you shall have made good the principal taxes, then I would suggest that you carry on with the plan that you already have. However, if you have a payment plan today whose installments would go beyond the 30th of June, then I invite you to consider a new installment arrangement that will specifically help you qualify for the tax amnesty. And so arrange to clear all your principal taxes with a new payment plan where the principal tax, where the final installment of your principal tax does not go beyond 30th of June 2024. Then for someone who has a nil return for the targeted period in the tax amnesty, qualifies under the first category where we said you do not have principal taxes owing. So you've either made good the principal tax or the return was a nil return in the first place, and those qualify. And for as long as you do not have principal taxes owing, then you need not make application. There's no further input from you, and you will enjoy the tax amnesty. The commissioner shall apply the credits. You need not make application. Brenda?
Maybe you can clarify, Alfred, those that have not even filed the returns, and we get to see these kinds of taxpayers a lot. Yes, they've never filed the prior returns. Let's say, for example, we're talking about income tax. Yeah, they then need to file their returns first, or the amnesty just applies even if they have not filed their returns?
Okay. Thanks. So two things. One, we said that the amnesty shall apply to items that have visibility in the system. And so if it is not visible in the system, there's no way to apply the tax amnesty. And then secondly, we have also urged the taxpayers to fulfill all their returns, file all the returns that you need to file to date. And that way you get to then bring visibility of these penalties and interest that you have, and then you get to benefit from the tax amnesty program. So if you have returns that are missing from December 2022 going back, you want to file those returns and file them now and put the correct declarations in the assessments in the returns that you're filing, whether it's nil return or whether you have an item to make declaration for, file the proper.
Alfred, I think we lost you there. I'm sorry, your
and to the
connection is not
compliance
very
officers
clear.
to help you. Okay.
Yes, I'm sorry. I think we lost you at some point. Your connection there was not very good, but you can come again in terms of the last question that you responded to.
Confirm if you can hear me now.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I'm not sure at what point I dropped off.
Towards the last few statements that you made, just towards the last few statements.
Okay. Pardon me, I'll cover that very quickly again. We are saying that you want to bring visibility of your taxes to the system. And so ensure that you fulfill all your tax returns to date. And so if you've not filed those tax returns, then the amnesty shall not be applied, because you've said the amnesty is being applied in the system. So interact with the system, put up your proper returns, whether they be nil returns or returns with declarations, put up the proper tax return. And then for as long as you get to make payment of the principal tax, so that you do not have principal taxes owing, then you get to enjoy amnesty, the penalty, interest, and fines if you get to pay the principal taxes by the 30th of June 2024. Brenda?
Thank you very much for the responses that you've given. Well, we have an avalanche of questions just streaming in, and I just want us to take them very quickly. So let me just ask the questions. You can note them down, maybe, and then respond to them. Let me see the question. So number one, there's somebody who said, please talk about those on the VAT special table. I've seen quite some questions about it. Talk about those who are in VAT special table and how, whether or not they qualify for this amnesty. That's one. Justina is saying, my personal PIN has a VAT obligation. I have always requested the removal with no success. Will this program grant me the VAT obligation removal? That is one. And then that is number one. Number two, Jacqueline is saying, I was invited to your offices in former ICA building, 9th floor, because I had penalties for not filing nil returns. Okay, all right. I have seen your question, Jackie. We will address it outside this forum. Thank you. Let me just take another question from Judy. Judy is saying, what can we automatically apply for this amnesty for PINs that do not have principal taxes? I don't think ITAX allows this currently, even though this was to begin in 1st September. I think Judy is asking about the application for this amnesty on the ITAX system. I think the question was, when can we automatically apply for this amnesty for PINs that do not have principal taxes? I don't think iTax allows this currently, even though it was to begin on 1st September. Please note those two. Let me ask a last question so that you can take all of them at the same time. The other question is from Stephen. Yes, this is the question. You said those who do not have principal tax outstanding need not apply for the amnesty. So supposing one pays the principal taxes now, do they still need to apply for the amnesty? Stephen is saying, you said that those who do not have principal tax outstanding need not apply for the amnesty. So supposing one pays the principal taxes today, do they still need to apply for the amnesty? Maybe you can begin with Stephen's questions and then the other two questions. Alfred?
All right. So, Stephen, if you happen to pay your principal taxes today, then yes, then you qualify for the tax amnesty without making application. Then for Judy, we said that the iTax system is currently being enhanced to undertake the tax amnesty as required in law. And if you do not have principal taxes, then you do not get to apply, but that the commissioner is going to post proper credits and grant you an amnesty, and this will be done during the amnesty period. So let's give this some time for the system enhancement, but trust that by June 2024, we shall all have gotten an amnesty for those penalties and interests where those periods do not have principal taxes. Then for those in VAT special table, I invite you to consider that there are certain circumstances that led the PIN to be placed under the special table. And so what I would first advise is that make good those issues. Visit your tax accountant, visit your KRA office, and demonstrate that you need to be brought back to the VAT regime and be brought back to trading so that your PIN is removed from the special table. Then as you make good your returns and make payment for the principal taxes, then yes, the resultant penalties and interest also qualify for the tax amnesty, in as much as the periods are for periods prior to 31st December 2022.
Okay.
And then for, sorry, there was an issue about Justina's VAT removal. It is possible to have your obligations deregistered. You'll have to demonstrate to the commissioner why the obligation needs to be deregistered, or whether it was even registered in error in the first place. And if that can be done, then yes, if, for example, the obligation was registered in error, there's a way to help with any resultant penalties. Those can be reversed. But if you are maintaining the obligation, but for some reason also want it removed, but you have penalties and interest items, yes, for as long as you've paid why the obligation needs to be deregistered for the periods prior to December 2022, you qualify for amnesty of the penalties and interest amounts.
All right.
Brenda?
Thank you very much. Let's go. We have more questions.
Okay.
John Kamau is saying, what if the PIN is already suspended? How can I file my returns? That is one from John Kamau. Then number two, Sir Brian is saying, after how long will the amnesty apply when one doesn't have the principal tax but has penalties? After how long will the amnesty apply when one does not have the principal tax but has penalties? That is one. Maybe you can respond to those two questions. And then I saw a hand up by, this is who is here? There's a hand up by, I'll just know in a moment. I want to know whether they need to ask a question or maybe respond to those two. questions.
Okay.
David Kimeli is saying, kindly explore more on the principal tax on those who filed their returns late.
Okay. So if your PIN is suspended, you have to make some considerations. What is it that you want? Do you wish to continue trading? What are the circumstances? And so I'd suggest that you discuss this with your account manager. You will get support from your tax service office. Discuss your circumstances. Understand, was it suspended upon request by yourself? What were the circumstances? Make good whatever issues need to be sorted. And then if you are to bring back this PIN and that it's a PIN that has penalties for December 2022 going back, the rule is the same. All you need to do is make payment for the principal tax. By the way, as a simple rule, there's just two things. I mean, if we can forget everything we've talked about today, then only remember these two things. That to qualify for the amnesty, one, no principal tax owing, and two, period prior to December 2022. All those qualify for the tax amnesty. And as for Brian's case on when it shall be applied for those without principal taxes, as I'm saying, KRA is currently undergoing an enhancement of the iTax system to be able to undertake the tax amnesty as provided in law. And so give it time, we are still well within the amnesty period, but by June 30th, 2024, all these credits shall have been applied. And for those who have qualified, will receive an amnesty certificate, and you can confirm from your ledgers that you have corresponding credits posted for the penalties and interest amounts that you have. And then for clarity for David on principal taxes, I would say, again, does not matter that you are filing this return today, for as long as the period you're filing is for a period and obligation that the period falls prior to December 2022. So even if you're making good the return today, the rule is the same. One, no principal tax. Two, period prior to December 2022. In all those circumstances, they all qualify for the tax amnesty. Brenda?
Thank you so much. I just want us to pick a few more questions. One person is asking, and another question from diaspora. Ashley saying, once the principal tax has been paid fully, is the amnesty then guaranteed? How will someone know that they've been granted this amnesty? That is one question. Number two, Jenny is saying, for people in the diaspora who cannot visit their tax service offices, what do you advise? And then maybe you can talk to the persons in diaspora. I know today we have quite a representation because we have persons from Germany, from the US, from South Africa, and I know we have a lot more from other parts of the country, other parts of the world, so we can address them. For people in diaspora who cannot visit their tax service office, what do you advise in as far as the amnesty is concerned? Then there's clarity that is being sought here. Noah Otieno is saying, clarify, I did not get a case. They did not understand. I think just give clarity for those who have penalties that have accrued from filing nil VAT and MRI returns. Those who have accrued penalties and interest because of VAT and MRI. The question is very specific to those two tax obligations. So does the amnesty apply even to them? Yes, Alfred.
So we'll start with Noah, where we've just left off. Yes, the amnesty does apply for nil returns, for VAT obligation, and for MRI as well. And like we said, there's only two rules. One, no principal tax. And you said those are nil returns, and so it qualifies because there's no principal tax. And that then it's only for the periods prior to December 2022. So anything in 2022, 2021, 2020, 2019, and so on qualify for all obligations, including VAT and including MRI. And then for whether it's guaranteed that you'll get the tax amnesty, remember the tax amnesty operates a little differently from how, for example, in the past, we saw waiver applications. Remember back then with the waiver applications that we said have just been repealed, you would have to demonstrate to the commissioner that you're facing certain difficulties in your business or as a person that have stopped you from being able to pay your taxes. And then you're coming to the commissioner to grant you waiver by consideration of such economic hardships and other difficulties that you're facing. But this is different from that. With the tax waiver, pardon me, let me take that again. With the tax amnesty program, all you need to do is pay your principal tax. And upon full payment of your principal tax, then yes, it is guaranteed that you have qualified and will get amnesty for principal, penalty, and tax. Then lastly, for amnesty for only penalty, interest, and fines. No, not principal. Then for our friends in the diaspora, I would first advise that you update your contact details in iTax. So that way you're able to get all communication from KRA and to get it in good time. And then you need not worry, no matter where you are in Africa or elsewhere, all you need to do is log in to your iTax profile and interact with the system. So suppose you have principal taxes to pay, then log in into iTax, make application, give the commissioner a proposal on how you intend to clear your taxes by June 2024. And as you make good your payments, upon payment of the last installment, then you qualify for the tax amnesty. So you can interact in the system, make payment, and still enjoy the tax amnesty from wherever you are. Only let me state that we expect that the system will be enhanced in a couple of 3 days from today, so that it's just not ready when you log in today, but we expect this soon in this month of September. Brenda?
All right. Thank you. Wow, we have questions streaming in. I think we will have yet another forum just to give more clarity as we proceed. So don't worry if the question is not answered today. But I want to give an opportunity for someone to actually unmute and ask the question. I have seen 2 hands up. One is from James Omweri, who raised his hands quite early on into our discussion. James, are you able to hear us? I want to give you an opportunity to ask a question, James. All right, James, maybe give us that confirmation even as I reach out to Anne.
Hello.
Yes, and good afternoon. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Suppose,
please let us know where are you asking your question from, and then go ahead and ask your question.
Nairobi.
Okay.
I was asking, suppose one was put on a payment plan for the taxes and penalties.
Yes.
So what happens now for the payments and for that particular arrangement that they entered into with KRA?
Thank you very much for your question. Let me one other question from Samil Alai. Samil, just ask your question.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you too. Thank you for joining us. Where are you from?
I'm speaking from Nairobi, Kenya.
Nairobi. Okay. Samil, your line is not very clear, but please proceed with your question.
Okay. So I'm here on behalf of my father.
Yes.
Who used to own a business. And during COVID time, unfortunately, the business died off.
Okay.
And unfortunately, he had to lay off the accountant.
Yes.
Because we didn't have any transactions or we didn't have any income during COVID. So that led to a problem on our tax system that during COVID, our taxes were not filed.
Okay.
So, okay, we had 0 transaction, but they were not yet filed or they were not filed. So what happened is now our VAT and the payee became was nil.
Yes.
However, so our VAT was deactivated by KRA on iTax.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is that do I need to reactivate the VAT and then file the nil returns and the taxes for COVID during COVID period, or can I just proceed and apply for the amnesty?
Thank you very much, Samil. Your question is well noted. I hope, Alfred, you're taking notes.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
All right. I want to give one person a last opportunity so that we get James Omori. I see you have unmuted yourself. Are you able to speak?
Yeah, you. I wanted to ask a question in regards to the amnesty for people who don't have principal tax.
Yes.
Let's say right now I'm in a process of applying for company registration, and I can't access the tax compliance certificate. How can you help me from your end, please?
Thank you for your question. So that's a question from Anne, Samil, and James in that order. Let's give an opportunity now to Alfred to respond on those questions.
Thanks. So Anne has a payment plan that covers penalties and does suggest that if the penalties are for periods prior to December 2022, then you need to take another payment plan. Go back to your account manager, demonstrate to them that you intend to benefit from the tax amnesty program so that you work out a new payment plan with different installments that only cover payment for the principal taxes, so that then you don't get to pay for the penalties and interest that are to be covered within the amnesty, and so you benefit with the amnesty program upon payment of the last installment. So just work out your payment plan differently with your account manager and only pay for the principal tax.
Thank you.
And then for Samuel's situation, so despite the circumstances that the business faced, first of all, for the pay-as-you-earn return, for as long as you still have that obligation, I suggest that you fulfill all the returns to date, put up the proper returns in the system, and pay the principal taxes. And if there are new returns, then still for periods that do not have principal tax, you get to qualify for the tax amnesty. There's an issue to do with VAT where you said you're no longer able to transact with VAT. Confirm with your account manager whether your PIN has been placed under special table. And if that's the case, then discuss your circumstances with them. There's a way for onboarding on the special table. There's a way to discharge your PIN from the special table, but you will have to be guided in the office, and you'll have to confirm certain circumstances. And suppose the PIN is taken out of special table, then you'll be able to fulfill your VAT returns to date. And for the returns filed and penalties and interest have been charged for periods prior to December 2022, you'll still enjoy the amnesty. And then, so for James's case, I think the way I understand it is that perhaps he has no principal taxes, but you have penalties and interest that are stopping you from getting your tax compliance certificate approved. And for this one, I would suggest that you visit your account manager in your tax service office to help you then have the rules for your compliance certificate relaxed, so that the system is able to grant you a tax compliance certificate, even though you have penalties and interest owing, because then we understand that you want to benefit from the tax compliance, from the tax amnesty program. Only make sure then that the penalties and interest that would be helped in this way of relaxation are those that are for periods prior to December 2022. If you have penalties and interest issues arising for 2023, we will ask that you make good those amounts first, and then we can discuss your tax compliance certificate. Brenda.
Thank you very much, Samil. I hope your question has been answered together with James Somori and Anne. Thank you for your question. Now I want to take a few more questions. For those that have arrived late or are wondering where the recording can be found, we have posted links and we are posting it again to the likes of Eddie Omoke, who are asking, I arrived late. Njeru, audio. Alfred, confirm that you can hear me.
I can hear you, yes.
Thank you. It's only that Njeru talked about the audio, and I think perhaps the problem is on his part. Yes, I was saying the link to the live stream is available, and I want to know whether we have any engagements in the live stream. So I'll be asking my team to just check on the chat for the live stream to let us know those that might want to engage with us. There's a question here that I want us to respond to, and Oboti Evans is asking, upon meeting the two conditions illustrated, is it possible to initiate tax amnesty on items? And then there's somebody here who's saying, I would like to ask about a waiver I applied on accrued interest on VAT. Is this going to be waived? I need 60 years for me to start a process of being in line with my peers' opinions, but this is really online. This is a person who has accrued. This is a person who has accrued interest. So kindly respond to that question. And then one other question here before we continue. We want to respond to as many questions, but we are almost coming to the close of today's session. So thank you so much. I'm sorry about that. I hope you can hear me clearly now. So this is the last question to you, Alfred. Hello, in the case of double claims, can one enjoy tax amnesty program after paying the principal taxes? Or will it be treated as tax avoidance? I think, George, you might need to raise your hand and just ask the question. Please maybe just take those two questions, even as we look through more questions.
Yes, on the first item on being able to apply in iTax, we have said that for those with principal taxes, we invite you to make application and give a proposal on how you intend to clear the principal taxes by installment before June 30th, 2024. And we've said that the system is being enhanced, and in a couple of 3 days will be availed for us to undertake that amnesty application in the system. Then for waiver that had been applied, whether it be pending or whether the waiver was approved in part or rejected in full, for as long as you have penalty and interest for a period prior to December 2022, whether there was a waiver decision on it or not, you qualify for the tax amnesty. And the only rule, no principal taxes, period prior to December 2024. Brenda?
Thank you. There's a hand up. I see Tabitha has a question. I think you should be able to unmute and ask. Tabitha, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. And first of all, thank you so much for this amnesty and this webinar. My question is maybe very basic. I just wanted to know, when you say visit your account manager, how do we know who our account manager is? Some of us don't really know.
Thank you for that question. Alfred?
Then all you need to do, Tabitha, is visit your tax service office, and you'll know your tax service office from your PIN certificate. If for some reason you're not able to visit, maybe your the distance covered, you have various other offices near you, then we still also advise you to visit your nearest KRA office and you get the same support. It's just that once you visited the tax service office, there is someone who is better placed to assist and that will be your account manager. You may not know them today, but you will be directed to them once you get your tax.
All right, Rufus is saying my account holder is in Nakuru and I am in Nairobi. Still on the same issue of tax, the account manager saying that my account manager is in Nakuru and I'm in Nairobi. Must I go to Nakuru to sort out this issue of the VAT PIN special table? This is Rufus. I think it's a follow-up question. For separate case, what do you have to say, Alfred?
No. You need not necessarily visit Nakuru. You can visit your nearest KRA office.
All right, thank you. We are at the tail end of our sensitization today. I can confirm that we will be closed before it gets to 4 p.m. But I just seen two other questions here. Somebody said, I think the questions on the VAT special table are quite many. And there are a few questions that we can pick out of this forum, but let's take a few more. There's a question here. Helsinki hotels talking about those that have principal taxes that have accrued because of employment income, especially those working for MDAs, ministries, departments, and agencies. So this category of people, does the amnesty apply to them? And if so, how do they go about it? Alfred?
So yes, so the issue of employees who only have employment income alone is actually being given particular keenness during this exercise. And yes, they do qualify for the tax amnesty for penalties and interest that they have either from late filing and so forth. We understand the ledger might show that they have some liability, but it's a liability that is being stood over because we understand that it's yet a pending reconciliation between the employer and there's an issue to do with how the payment is made. And so that liability will not be required or will not be demanded on the part of the employee. And so it's something that is being spilled over, and then the amnesty being applied for other penalties that we have for late filing. So yes, this one I can confirm.
Thank you. Two last questions before we wrap this up and call it a day. Remember that we have many more sensitizations lined up for you discussing the amnesty program. This is just the beginning. We have many more coming up, so keep tuned to our social media handles. We will let you know when we'll have more sensitizations. But I want to pick a question here. Sorry, I'm just going through the chat box. I think a majority of questions have been answered, and most are just seeking clarity, like the likes of Mutongoi here saying, so if I don't have a principal tax declared and have been filing nil returns and I have penalties and interest, then I do not need to file. Is the amnesty automatic? I think you responded to that question. Beatrice is asking, and I think you alluded to this answer, but let me ask it anyway. Hey, what if I have a principal tax and a payment plan that is running up to December 2023? After I finish paying for my principal taxes, then do I qualify for the amnesty? You can respond to Beatrice's question, Alfred.
Yes, because you mentioned that your plan goes to December 23. So if within the amnesty period, you will have cleared your principal taxes for the year, you will qualify for amnesty, penalty, and interest, but only for periods prior to December 23.
All right, and I think the same question is coming from Linda. Linda is saying, suppose you had a payment plan and you are remaining with only income tax company penalties and interest. Will one qualify then for the amnesty automatically, or will you have to make an application? Alfred?
So if by the commencement of the amnesty period you do not have principal taxes, you need not make application for the amnesty. And then if the remaining installments are for penalty and interest, and the penalties and interest are for period prior to December 2022, then work out a new arrangement, and hopefully even where you paid all the principal tax, terminate the installment arrangement if you do not have penalty, interest, or principal tax to pay for period 2023. But if you have penalty and interest for 2023, I would suggest that you finish it up according to the installment arrangement that you already have, so that you only leave out paying penalty and interest that is for December 2022 and prior.
Thank you very much. Let's take the last question now from Anne Quirio. Anne Quirio, you can hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. I hope you can hear me as well.
Yes, loud and clear. Thank you for joining us. Please let us know where you're joining us from and ask your question.
From Nairobi.
All right.
Okay, my question is, we have a payment plan in place, and when we are paying right now, is there a way you can pay only the principal tax and not the interest part of it? Because when you select the payment, it picks the whole payment, does not separate the principal from the interest. Thank you.
Thank you for your question. Anne, over to you, Alfred.
It's a good question. So you must have a breakdown from when your payment plan was approved of the total amounts you're paying, the obligations, the periods involved, the full principal tax, the penalties, and the interest. And so I need you to understand that as you're making payments, installment payments for your payment plan, according to the plan, then the first amount will go to pay the principal taxes until the last principal tax is paid. Then the next payment will cover penalties until both principal and penalty is paid. Then the other installments will cover your interest. So you will know whether you've covered your principal taxes by looking at how much you've paid according to that plan so far. And so then in that case, consider only installments that will cover the principal tax if you then wish to terminate and enjoy amnesty for penalty interest.
All right, thank you so much. I want to appreciate the responses that you have given us, Alfred. I see a hand by Nemo. I'm not sure we have sufficient time, but maybe make it quick because you're the last person to have raised your hand. Nemo, do you have a quick question? Nemo, do you have a quick question? All right, I think I have given you an opportunity to ask a question, but we are pressed for time. Perhaps what you can do is, Nemo.
This is Milton. Can I speak? Can I proceed?
Yes, please proceed. Where are you asking your question from? And proceed with your question. Yes.
For taxpayers who had online payment plans, they need to cancel them because the online payment plans usually comes with the interest and penalties. There is no way you can remove the interest penalties and penalties from the payment plan. So if the payment plan was online, they need to cancel them and then initiate new ones through the amnesty window.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I just realized that is Madam Miriam Masaria. She is part of the task force that is driving the amnesty program. I'm sorry I did not recognize you by that name, but yes, thank you for that clarity in terms of the question. She's just here to support Mr. Alfred. So thank you so much, Miriam, for that. I just want to now welcome. I don't know whether you would want to say anything. Well, Moses Shundu is saying thank you for that clarification. I want to give Alfred an opportunity to give a closing remarks and maybe touch on some of the important matters that you talked about in the presentation. And then also we'll hand it over to Miriam to give a closing remark. Let me begin with Alfred.
Thank you. Thank you, Brenda. It's been interesting having this engagement. I appreciate the level of participation. And in closing, it's just to remind you the two items. To qualify for the amnesty, one, no principal tax, so make payment of the principal taxes default. And that two, we are looking at December 2022 and prior. So thank you very much. That's all from me. Back to you, Brenda, and it's good to also hear from Miriam.
Thank you so much. Let's appreciate Alfred for a job well done. William is saying thank you, Brenda and Alfred, together with KRA for this seminar. Truly, they have learned quite a lot. Even Moses is saying thank you for the clarification. I want to Festus Vole. I want to welcome Madam Miriam. I know you're still here with us to give. I want to give her an opportunity to also give her closing remarks. I know she might not have been there since the beginning, but yes, there's a question. Please give clarity also. I know Alfred has talked about it, but you can talk about it. Still, people under VAT special table. That is one. People with payment plans, of which you have just spoken to. And then persons who have outstanding principal tax due to their employment, just for the purpose of repetition and emphasis to get clarity. Speak on that and then give us the closing remarks, even as we bring the session to a close. Miriam?
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity. I want first to appreciate the team, every member, every taxpayer who was able to join us today during this sensitization. We'll be doing more and more of such to make sure every taxpayer, to try and make sure every taxpayer is aware of this great offer that KRA is extending to all taxpayers out there. And we also encourage you to inform, tell another person who will tell another person, make it a cycle.
Sorry about that, Miriam. I think you should be able to proceed now. I'm sorry about that.
Those who were not able to use their PINs, this is the opportunity to file all their past returns and benefit from the amnesty. Now going straight to the two questions, three, if I may say so. The first one is about taxpayers on special table. It has been coming up a lot, and apologies to the entire team because I believe the delay is on our side in sharing the guidelines. But I want to promise you by next week, when you go to KRA website, you'll find the guidelines on removal of taxpayers from the special table. We will give clear guidelines showing who will get amnesty. But you see, for most of the people who are following up on special table, is the one that is eatings related. For the past special tables, they'll be covered. But for those who were put on special table from January coming forward, they don't qualify for amnesty. But following what the guidelines will say, there are some taxpayers whose interest and penalties were erroneous. They will go through something called reversal of erroneous interest and penalties. But the ones who penalties were levied genuinely because of their failure to onboard, we might be given, the guidelines will be very clear on the treatment of such, and if it says they have to pay, that is what will go by. So by next week, you'll find the guidelines on KRA website, and I believe that will be very clear to all taxpayers. On number two, I want to also talk about what I just responded about the payment plans. If you apply for a payment plan online, there are two ways taxpayers apply for payment plans. There is the manual payment plan application that is not a why taxpayers go for manual payment plans in case there are system challenges. But there are other taxpayers who do not have any system challenge and they applied for payment plans online. For the payment plan that are applied online, when you're making payment, it does not allow you to edit anything. Meaning you'll have to pay including interest and penalties. And for that category that apply for payment plans online and you want to take advantage of the amnesty, the best is to go to your TSO with a new plan. You ask them to cancel the old payment plan that is in the system. And this goes to all taxpayers with online payment plans. They go, they cancel it, and you initiate a new one through the amnesty window so that you can edit during generation of PRN to only capture the principal tax amount only. Because for the payment plans that are given through the system, you don't even generate PRN the normal way. You put the payment plan number, acknowledgement number. So it is specific and it shows the installments that mostly include the interest and penalties. So for such ones, for you to benefit, you have to visit the TSO, they cancel it, then you initiate a new one. And finally, on the last one was on taxpayers who need to apply. Kindly, on the last question, it was about what?
Thank you. I think you have addressed most of the questions, Nimo, but maybe on the last one you can talk to Kenyans in diaspora. Today it was a pleasant surprise to know that we have Kenyans or rather taxpayers joining us from as far as Germany, the US, and even South Africa.
Okay, thank you for that. And for Kenyans that are in the diaspora and also Kenyans within the country, this is the high time we took advantage of the tax amnesty. There are so many companies, because another question that maybe I joined late, I didn't get it, but it comes up a lot. If you have not been filing your returns, if you file, will you benefit? Yes, we know there are so many people who are out there who had companies that were trading, but because after they traveled, they lost touch of the filing, they could not continue using these companies. We encourage you to come file all your returns and you'll enjoy the amnesty and you can start trading with your companies. We need the money back. We need to use our pins once again. We need to revive our companies so that we can continue trading. So thank you very much once more for the opportunity to come and talk to you about the amnesty and for availing yourself to also listen to us. Thank you, and take up the amnesty and pass the message out there. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam Miriam, and also Alfred. Come on, let's just appreciate them, give them a thumbs up. They are the team, the task force running with the amnesty program, and that they have really taken time to clarify matters from us on what we need to know on the amnesty. Let us appreciate them, give them a thumbs up. Thank you so much to Justina. Thank you, Prof, for the hand claps. We see them. For those that have questions that are unanswered, don't forget we will have an opportunity to ask questions as soon as we engage in more sensitizations. Remember, KRA TV will be having such tax talks every Thursday from 11 a.m. That is cast on stone every Thursday from 11 a.m. And then we will have additional sensitizations in the course of the week that we will be informing you through our social media platforms. Once again, we just want to put the link to the KRA TV or the chat box so that you can revisit. If you missed out on any part of the sensitization, you can actually go back and watch it again. You can go back and listen to the responses to the questions that were raised here today. And you can leave your comment. Remember to like and subscribe and share. This is a repository where we keep all useful information from all the sensitizations that we do. That's it from us. It's 5 minutes past the time we had intended to stop, but it was worthwhile. I hope we have gotten to respond to as many questions as possible. We appreciate your time and staying with us right through to the end of today's sensitization. Make time to join us next week during our Tax Thursday talk from 11 a.m. through KRA TV and on the platform that we will share with you. So thank you so much and have a very good evening.